Okay, so I'm at the end of day one of this little project, and I would say I'm a pretty abysmal failure. Based on the other video, the other portion of the video where I calculated how many calories that I need to have in order to maintain my body weight, how many shakes and or meals I would need to have in order to do that, was 5. Actually, it's 5.2 something. And I was like, okay, I gotta get at least 4, preferably 5. I've had 2. This is number 3 and it's full. It's the end of the day, and so I am way under in my calorie consumption. And it's for a couple of reasons. One, it's a pretty underwhelming way to eat. I don't necessarily really like the texture of the shake. I really don't like the stevia taste. The little meal that I had today, I had the chili for lunch. It was fine. It was overall just an underwhelming experience. Tomorrow I'm going to try really hard to get more of my calories that I need to have. I didn't feel like a social leper today because I'm at work and I'm working really hard. And that's probably part of the problem too, is it takes some time to get these things down. And, in order to add that many meals throughout my day, I wouldn't normally have that many. I would normally have like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but to have 5, it's not even just like a snack where I can have it in a couple of minutes. Like, it's a whole project. I gotta cook it, or I've gotta, make it. And so that's probably not entirely realistic while I'm at work. And then the other thing is, I'm not trying to be social when I'm at work. So it being socially isolated in terms of eating, not such a big deal. As far as GI stuff, it's definitely giving me, I think, a little bit of discomfort in my stomach. Nothing serious. I've not had like any GI distress or, anything, but it's just, like a little undercurrent of like, maybe this is a little bit not feeling amazing. As far as some of the other things, I won't know until tomorrow, like whether or not it affects my sleep positively or negatively. I'm not going to weigh myself on a daily basis. I'm just going to do a weigh before and a weigh after and see if there was any change. But if I keep it up at this rate, unfortunately, there will be a change because I'm way under my calorie requirements for the day. At this point, I've probably had 900 calories. It's terrible. When my calculated caloric requirements was at least 2,200, I'm not even halfway there. It's not acceptable. And so underfeeding like that is not a goal that I have. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow when I give this a try again. And I'm going to drink this one. So this will get me up to 1,200 calories. I still should have one more. I don't know if I'll be able to get that down before I go to bed. I'm going to say probably not. So we'll chalk this up to like not a great day in terms of how this whole thing went. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, this is day 2 and this is proving way, way harder than I thought it was gonna be. And not for the reasons I thought it was going to be hard. One, I'm just having a hard time getting it in because it's so filling. I'm not hungry, so I'm like having to force feed myself. And also, I'm not gonna lie, like the consistency of the shake and stuff, I don't love it. And I really don't like that stevia taste. All right, friends, it's the end of day 2. I'm not doing very well with this. I have only had 2 servings today. I need to get a third one down. The consistency is starting to get like borderline gaggy. I mean, for lack of a better description. And I'm walking down the hall. I'm still at work. But I am not doing well getting my calorie requirements met. See how I do tomorrow. Okay, so I'm at the end of day 3, and I have good news. It's getting a little bit easier. I tried a couple things this morning. So one, in my smoothie, I added a little cocoa powder and like a handful of blackberries, and that was better. And then at lunch, I made it more like a soup. So I actually added more water, so it was less thick, and that was also better. So today was a good day. I still totally impossible for me to get more than 3 meals in, which is still grossly under my caloric requirements. The other thing is, it is so filling, especially the shake. When I have it, it feels like my stomach is full to like the brim. I'm thinking one of the conclusions I'm going to come to from this whole thing is that if you wanted to use it for weight management, it might be pretty effective for that. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it might work. Also, on a positive note, I've really had no gastrointestinal problems. I had like the teeniest little bit on the first day, and oversharing, but it's part of the science. Pooped fine today. Everything was good. Okay, it's the start of day 4, and I have made an epiphany. If you thin it out, I think the consistency is better. So I need more water. I think it was so thick, the consistency was really the problem. So this is getting easier. We'll see if I can get 4 down today. I feel optimistic. Say hi.
Hi.
You're not even looking.
I'm looking at traffic.
Okay. So on day 4, I think I've cracked the code in terms of making this whole project way more doable. So what I've done is I am doing mostly the shakes now. The food, I think it would be good if I was backpacking, because when you're really hungry like that, everything kind of tastes good. And in a pinch, it'd be fine. Like if I was at work and I needed another meal and I was out of food, totally. But as far as like the day-to-day, I'm not liking that so much. So today I've done only the shakes, and I have made them much thinner, and I've added a little cocoa powder and a little instant decaffeinated coffee. I think it's way, way more doable. So I'm already 3 shakes in, and it's only 1 o'clock. I might make my 4 or 5 today. That is 5, a little bit over 5 is what I need to meet my caloric requirements. But I think I'll definitely make it to 4 today, maybe 5. So I'm improving. This is the beginning of day 5, and today we're gonna go mountain biking. Yesterday I did like a 5-mile hike, and I did fine. At the end I felt like a little bit lightheaded, and I'm really not enjoying the meals very much, so I've been doing a lot more of the shakes. So in order to do that, I made 3 shakes to go. But I'm gonna show you what I've been doing to make them, in my opinion, of course, way more palatable. So I'm using my blender. You can see it's already dirty from making the other one. 2 scoops of the Huel nutritionally complete food. I'm not measuring any of this other stuff. A little thing of instant decaffeinated coffee, because no one should feed someone like me caffeine, even in the morning, because this is how I wake up. It would be like feeding caffeine to a squirrel. Some cocoa powder, quite a bit of cocoa powder, because I like chocolate. And then I am not measuring the water, I'm just putting some in, and it's coming out a lot thinner, and the thinner consistency is better. I gave it a little whiz in the blender just to show you the consistency is like really thin now. And when I was first starting, I was almost like gagging on it, because all I could think of it was like it's a bit gritty, and it was the consistency of like thin oatmeal, and I'm trying to drink it. I didn't like it at all, but this, no problem. We'll see how today's day 5. I'm not gonna lie, I did lose a little bit of weight. It's not that I can't stand to lose a little bit of weight. I kind of checked my weight. It wasn't the goal of the project, but I wasn't able to eat enough calories. But yesterday, I actually had about half a sweet potato, didn't I? Because I was like, because he was having it at the end of the day, and I was eating these yummy, not so yummy shakes and stuff. So I was like kind of jealous, and I was hungry when I saw real food, and he's been eating real food the whole time. So I had half a sweet potato. So technically I cheated by half a sweet potato. After having only had the 1 shake this morning, we went on a 9-mile mountain bike ride. It went good. I felt good. And the black edition is more like a keto friendly, and I don't normally necessarily eat keto friendly, so I was a little concerned I might bonk or feel pretty crappy, but I didn't. I felt okay. Zoom in on my beautiful mountain biking shins. It's natural sunscreen, right? So I'm gonna go put this away and then get my giant jug of like brown sludge out and have another 400 calories. I don't know if any of you have ever had a garden. I'm not very good, and I don't take good enough care of it. But is there not something super cool about eating food that you've grown? And since I'm eating only sludge right now, Nathan gets them. All right, I'm on day 6 of this challenge, and I'm just getting kind of sick of eating the same thing all the time. But on a positive note, it's totally mindless. You don't even have to think about it. I am definitely able to consume at least 4 servings per day now. And yeah, so at the end of the day tomorrow, after I've gone through all of this, I'm almost out of the protein smoothie, so I might have to switch up to eating more of the meals. I don't really like those as much. But at the end of the day, tomorrow I'm gonna kind of do a summary of how everything went. Little update. Last couple days, a fair amount of gas. I hate sharing stuff like this on YouTube, but warning, like it can happen. And I'm someone who eats a lot of fiber normally, so something to think about.
Okay, so is it safe to say that you're excited tomorrow's the last day?
Yeah.
Yeah, why is that?
I am craving eating real food, and I'm craving very specific types of food, which is kind of unexpected for me. Because normally if I was going to crave something, it might be like chocolate or whatever. But what I'm craving is like salty foods and vinegary foods, like pickles, olives. Ooh, you know what sounds really good? The pickled ginger that you have with sushi. That sounds so good. Weirdly, I'm not craving sweets, although I probably wouldn't turn down a sweet. I want salt, and I want like vinegary things. Ooh, a pickle sounds so good.
Okay, day 7, Huel project. So I'm pretty sick of it. I'm excited to try real food tomorrow. I'm going to give you, in the morning, I'm going to break down all of the things that I discussed that I would let you know about. And yeah, it's pretty boring at this point. Keep drinking the same things, keep eating the same things. And I'm in a routine where I can do it 4 times a day, but not very interesting. So I'm at the end of my 7 days of doing my 7-day Huel challenge. And I wanted to go through all of the things that I said that I would go through and kind of give you a final summary of how everything went. So I'm going to be looking at paper a little bit just because I can't memorize all of these numbers and stuff. So the first thing I wanted to do is to show you what the calculated calories was that based on my age, my sex. You know, I used 4 different references. I used NASM, the Mayo Clinic, the American Cancer Society, and the National Institute of Health. And when I took all of those and based on my activity, etc., I really should have been somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,116 calories. That I took all 4, averaged them out. That's the number that came out. Divided that by the 400 calories per serving for the Huel products, and it says that I should have somewhere around 5.29 servings per day to meet my calorie requirements so as not to lose nor quote-unquote gain weight. Now, keep in mind, there is a humongous margin of error in this, and it is not a perfect system. There's so many variables that go into this. Just take it with a grain of salt that I was trying to aim somewhere near what maintaining my calories would be. First thing I'll tell you, I was an abysmal failure at that, like complete rubbish. But let's talk more about the why of that was. So the first thing I want to talk about is the social factor. Like, how did it feel to be eating only these like restricted meals, these very specific shakes and so on and so forth? And frankly, it's socially boring. You know, I didn't feel like it was a big deal because most of the time I was at work. Only 2 of the days I wasn't at work. So when I'm at work, I'm like, bam, bam, bam. But it turns out it wasn't actually as convenient as you might think. It did get better once I got to like the more liquidy state because I literally would just like chug them down. But the satisfaction of that was like nil. It was nothing. Now, from a utility, you know, like a utility perspective, it was super convenient while I was at work. So now that brings me into the taste. So I just wanted these videos to be totally candid. Now, everybody's taste buds are different and what they enjoy is going to be different. But for me, the Black Edition vanilla was kind of boring. So I needed to doctor it up. I put some cocoa powder in and some decaffeinated instant coffee to make things taste better. One day I tried blackberries in it. So it wasn't like totally like hard fast, like you can't do anything to this, but I would try to stick to it as much as possible with as little doctoring as I could. The thing for me is I couldn't really get past the stevia taste. Now, if you like the taste of stevia, it's not going to bother you, but I don't love it. And then the other thing was mostly a consistency thing. The consistency was so thick, and when I did it the way that it was described to be made, that I felt like I was drinking purified oatmeal. That's the consistency it was. And when I watered that down, it became like kind of thick and slightly grainy chocolate milk. It was fine. Again, relatively unsatisfying. But if I'm looking at it from the perspective of like getting the nutrients I need and so on and so forth, in a pinch, sure, that's fine. So I want to talk about something that really should take into consideration. And that is like GI and bowel. I did not have GI pain, although some people have described that that's a concern or a problem for them.
But there was some gas, and Nathan can attest to that. However, it wasn't painful for me, unpleasant for those around me, and it was specifically in the evening, which makes me think it was the hot and savory meals, because it didn't happen during the day when I was doing the shakes. It was only just having the hot and savory meal as like the dinner. I tried alternating it in the beginning, and I couldn't do it. So after dinner, though, things kind of like went a little south. Now, the fiber content of these meals is pretty high. I eat a lot of fiber naturally, so I shouldn't have had too much difficulty with it. But the thing that I think is there's a lot of flaxseed in these meals. And flaxseed, and it's not ground necessarily, it's like whole flax seeds, which from a nutrient perspective, it would be better if it was ground. But it definitely gave me some gas. Now let's talk about a pretty big positive. So I was concerned that because I wasn't able to consume enough of the calories, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that I was going to feel super low energy, or the fact that it was like a ketogenic product, that because I don't normally do keto, I was going to feel like really fatigued or anything like that. And that wasn't the case. I actually felt really, really good. I mountain biked, I hiked, I exercised. I did feel the slightest bit of lightheadedness after one of my hikes, but it wasn't bad. It was also really darn hot. I live near Atlanta in the summer. So now let's talk about my weight. So my concern was in the beginning, because I really could not get down the first few days more than 3 products. And that is about 1,200 calories. So based on what I just told you, that's like 1,000 calories, or even maybe a little more than like 1,100 calories short of what I should be getting in order to maintain my weight. And I did, in fact, lose a couple of pounds. But as I was able to kind of ramp up the amount I was eating, that stabilized. So it was just a little bit. I checked my weight at the beginning. I checked it in the middle, not because I intended to, but because I was a little bit concerned. And I checked it at the end, and it had stabilized. So that, I expected that based on my reduced caloric consumption. Now, here's the thing. People are going to ask, like, should you use it for weight loss? Should you not? Here's the thing. You can use it for weight loss. You can use anything for weight loss. And that's the thing. If you want to lose weight on any program, shake, nutrition system, you can. It can be done. That is not what they're advertising. That is not what they're promoting. Do I think you could use it? Sure. Do I think it's the best way to do it? No. And anytime you're manipulating your nutrition in a way that is unsustainable, it's a bad idea. The next thing I wanted to discuss was my sleep. So I'm not 100% sure. I definitely slept well, but my sleep is so erratic that they could be just a fluke. I don't want to label this as something that helped me sleep better, but maybe? Okay, so let's talk for a second about taste. I'm going to say I'm like Switzerland on this. It's not terrible. It's not great. I'm sure that if I tried other ones, I maybe think they're better or worse, but I'll talk about the ones that I did try. I tried the Black Edition vanilla. It's very vanilla. I'm ambivalent to it. I think you could doctor it up if you like to add things to it, or you could just try another flavor. Now, as far as the hot and savory meals, the best one by far of the 3 that I chose, which was the sweet and sour, the Thai green chili, and the Mexican chili was definitely the best one in my opinion. If I was backpacking, I probably would have thought all 3 was delicious, because, you know, when you're backpacking and you're hungry and you're dirty, everything tastes so much better. But I had this desire to like doctor it up. Like I said, I'm not vegan, so I was like, it would be great with some chicken in it.
Whoa. Diced chicken in there, or something. Prefer to have some kind of meat in there, but
It would be great with some like corn or some tomato or some cilantro or just like some fresh stuff. It's super unsatisfying. And the consistency is like this combination of like mushy and then like these chunks of flaxseed. So it's like this textury weird thing. It's fine. They were all fine. So now what I want to do is, and this is where I'm really going to look at my paper, is I want to break down cost. Whether or not this is a cost-effective way to do things. And of course, this totally depends on your lifestyle. I don't eat out much. Actually, I eat out very, very little. I tend to cook everything at home. Therefore, the cost of my food is probably much less than someone who eats out more. But I do tend to eat pretty high quality. But I also get some food from my own property that I grow. All that to say, I'm going to break it down into about what it costs per day,
given the days that I had 3, 4, or the one day that I was able to get 5 meals in, and then what that would look like over the course of 30 days, sort of like a month of budget. So on the day that I had 3 meals, which would mean I had 2 shakes and 1 hot and savory meal. So the hot and savory meals come out to about $3.76 a serving, whereas the Black Edition comes out to about $2.73 per serving. So for the 3 servings, it's like $9.22 a day. If you could or had any reason to be on a 1,200 calorie diet, that's pretty low, but let's just say for argument's sake that was appropriate for you, that would come out to about a grand total of $276.60 a month. If you had 4 meals, 3 shakes, 1 meal, that would be $11.95 a day or $358.50 a month. And then one day I was able to get the 5 meals in, which would be 4 shakes and 1 hot and savory meal. That'd be $14.68 and a total of $440.40. So for me personally, this would be much more expensive than my normal eating. However, from a backpacking perspective, like a hot and savory meal at being $3.76, if I go and I buy a backpacking meal, it's going to be at least right around 3 to 4 times that much. So from that perspective, it could be a huge cost saving for people who are doing backpacking and they like to eat those prepackaged meals. So there's a place, I think, for all of this. The other thing that they sort of advertise is like replace your most inconvenient meal of the day. So a place I can see this as being pretty valuable is for people who they want to eat breakfast, but they have a hard time eating breakfast because they just don't feel like they want to eat, but they feel like that's something that would serve them well from a nutrition perspective, or they need to take medication, that they have to eat something. I can see maybe these shakes being a good option for them. And I'm not saying I wouldn't do it in the future. I would probably consider it, just like I do smoothies episodically or periodically for different meals of the day, just because I enjoy them. I think it has a place. So in summary, this is how I feel about it. I'll probably keep some on hand. You're going to see in an upcoming video about how I feel about the Huel greens powder. Now, out of every product I've tried, that is by far the winner. I'm going to talk more about that. However, these other products, I think they have their place. I think they're great for convenience. They're great for backpacking. They're great for having a good nutrient profile. They're great if you're vegan and you want to get more protein. As far as like meeting all your needs and this is all you should eat, no way. No way. However, I would be interested if I could like muster up the strength to do it for a month and I did some blood work before and after to see if there was any change. But to be honest, my blood work is really normal anyway. So that might be more value with someone who has some abnormalities. The only thing I'm really messed up in is my vitamin D is low. And I've been working really hard on that. So hopefully the next time I test it, it will be better. It's something to think about because that's the study that they did do when they had people do this for 30 days. And I believe that was just with traditional Huel, no hot and savory, no Black Edition for 30 days. And very similar to my experience, the subjects in the study had a very difficult time meeting their caloric requirements. Now, if you were like a super active male, I don't know how you would be able to get enough of this down. The only thing I can think of is that you have to have like the 600 or 800 calorie meals. Like you'd have to add a scoop or 2 scoops to your meals. Like some of my patients, my young athletic patients, they have to consume like 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day. First of all, this would be like torture, and super unsatisfying, but very, very difficult to do. But I was interested in the fact that they even did a study and they had some really favorable initial responses to some of the metrics. I want to give credit where credit is due. Now, I'm aware it's self-funded, but here's the thing. Almost all research starts out being self-funded because nobody else wants to pay for it. I think the fact that the company went to the effort to even try to do a study says a lot because when you're talking about the supplement arena, because it's not FDA regulated and it doesn't have the same rigor, they can really say and do whatever they want. So whenever a company is willing to like self-submit to an organization to make sure that it's actually what they say it is, or they go through the rigor of getting NSF certified to make sure that it's safe for Division I athletes, or they do a study at all, I think that says a little bit about the integrity of the company. Watch out for the gas. Not super satisfying. Tastes okay. Probably could help with some weight management. Super duper convenient. Cost depends on your budget. Certainly, I don't think it's cheaper than eating nutritious, healthy food.
And yes, it is comprehensive in its nutrition profile, which is the primary purpose of the product. I hope that you guys find this helpful. I hope that my patients find this helpful. I hope that anyone watching this finds this helpful. And I look forward to giving you some more information in the future. Thanks a lot for spending some time with me. Bye.